So, players have been noticing that sometimes diamonds and items are magically disappearing out of their Royale High accounts even if they haven't been hacked. And there's actually a reason for this, and I want to talk about it with you guys because it has to do with Royale High and removing exploited materials. Now, with that in mind, I've been receiving a ton of comments on my Royale High videos recently of people being like, hey, Palmy, I logged into my Roblox account and did my dailies in Royale High, and I noticed I was missing 100,000 diamonds, or I was missing these shoes, or I was missing whatever. And it seems like a lot of people specifically seem to be missing the snow swan heels. Not exactly sure what that is, but we're going to get into it in a second here. But the moral of the story is that I don't work for Royale High. However, I did come across a thread where they basically responded to another player who had stated a similar experience under their Twitter, and they responded with the reasoning as to why this happens. And unfortunately, this is something that a lot of innocent players are falling for, which leads to them ultimately getting scammed and getting items removed from their accounts and potentially being punished for things they didn't even do. So I want to talk about this issue with you guys so you guys can know how to protect yourselves and avoid this from happening to you. Now basically, this original post was posted by Rosie and it reads, hey, so my diamonds disappeared, what's up with that? And then Royale High responded saying either the fountain girl got you went on a shopping spree and forgot, or most likely the diamonds were exploited or your account was compromised. We recommend emailing support at royalehigh.com so they can take a closer look for you. Now, as we've discussed in my previous videos, it takes forever, it seems like, from the shared experiences that people have shared with me to get a response from the Royale High support email, just because it is probably so overwhelmed, and a lot of people actually go months without receiving any conclusive resolution to their issues, which is unfortunate and is why you want to try and avoid this from happening to you at all costs. Now, a lot of the comments that I've seen from people is saying that they don't share their Roblox username or their password, they had nobody log into their account, but somehow when they logged into Royale High, they were missing items or just a bunch of diamonds. And this has to do with what Royale High is mentioning here about compromised items. Now, this is actually something that is very common, and a lot of people don't quite understand what it means or how you get compromised items, even if you aren't trying, so I want to make a video explaining it so that you know what to avoid. The number one way you're going to get compromised items, which I guess I should explain what they are first. A compromised item is typically an item that has been exploited into the game, or an item that was stolen from another player that then becomes poisoned. Poisoned items are basically items, it's more so a term, like they aren't actually poisoned, but they're items that are considered to be high risk to have in your account, because Royale High can look at all of the trading logs across everybody's accounts, and they will see that you received items that were stolen from another player, those items therefore being poisoned, so they almost have like kind of like a tag attached to them that they were stolen from somebody. And if you're caught with those items, you could be accused or believed to be associated with the scammer who scammed those items from the player, even if you were 100% innocent. Now, when it comes to exploited items, I guess there's some people that know how to basically exploit the Royale High farming system and will get a ton of diamonds by running different scripts on their computers, and will either then purchase items with those diamonds or will then trade away those diamonds to players, which is typically the most common thing to do. Now, this is where all those like separate sellers and stuff comes in. When you're on Tradery, as an example, and there's an account that has maybe no reviews, doesn't have a ton of history, but has either an astronomical amount of diamonds that they are trading to you or have really high value items that they want to trade with you, that is a key indicator that someone is going to be trading you exploited items. And you do not want to be taking these items. A lot of times they will entice players by giving you very fair trades, or even like overpaying for an item that really isn't worth that much. Example, maybe they'd offer you like 9 million diamonds for the Witching Hour Halo, which is way more than it's worth, obviously. Because that's such an enticing offer, you'd be like, wow, I'd be winning so much, I'm gonna accept it. And you therefore give them a good item that is not poisoned and that you earn legitimately, and then you are given diamonds that were exploited through various scripts and methods, and when you are caught with those items in your account or those diamonds, Royale High's system clocks that and says, hey, these diamonds weren't earned legitimately, and so instead of necessarily banning you from the game, they're just going to take the exploited diamonds out of your account, which basically just removes them and not say anything, which leads to you logging into Royale High and be missing a bunch of diamonds or random items. The other thing too is that these exploiters will oftentimes also use those diamonds to purchase items, and that can explain why the items are removed from your account. So altogether, it just ends up causing this absolute terrible loop for players, especially people who trade in Royale High, where they are falsely correlated to scammers and ultimately end up losing thousands in value because the items they rightfully traded away that weren't poisoned were then replaced with poison or exploited goods, which is really unfortunate. Now, another way that this can happen is if you are purchasing diamonds through like Facebook Marketplace and stuff like that, or people who will put like, oh, buy 1 million diamonds. Not saying every single one of those people who sells that did use exploited goods, but you have to stop and think for a second. How is it that this random person on Facebook Marketplace constantly has a massive selection of diamond amounts ranging from like 100,000 diamonds all the way to 10 million? How is it that they always have that many diamonds? And you could cope and be like, oh, maybe they're just like really good at farming. But those are the kinds of people that are using bots in games like the art class, people that just like sit by the Halo and will keep using spam accounts to wish at the fountain to try and get diamonds and stuff like that. And those are the accounts that are going to basically teleport around the map to gain any sort of diamonds that are dropped on the map by using scripts. And these accounts will then use all of those farm diamonds, transfer them to another account, and will then sell all of those diamonds through one account. And once that account gets banned, they will just simply use another account. And that ends up leading to them putting basically listings on things like Facebook Marketplace or other online selling platforms and selling you massive amounts of diamonds for very affordable rates. Like, I'm talking like a tenth of what the diamonds would have cost to purchase through Royale High itself. And that's why it's enticing to players, because they feel like they're getting money off. They feel like they're getting a better deal for their money. And so obviously you'd be enticed to accept that offer and to purchase diamonds off these people. But unfortunately, those diamonds are exploited, and Royale High can check that because they can see, hey, this account that only owns the multipliers and has like no achievements is earning like hundreds of thousands of diamonds an hour. This isn't adding up, and they will end up actually banning that account and then tracing where the diamonds were traded, because again, Royale High doesn't have like a gifting feature or something, so all of the diamond transactions are through the trading logs, and because they have very detailed trading logs where they can see the exact amounts of diamonds that you received from a trade, they will go back and actually trace the seller's account and see what accounts the seller traded to, and will then basically be able to track everybody that's been purchasing third-party stuff from Royale High and either ban you for cross-trading, or will just simply take the diamonds that you paid for from the seller out of your account. So now you've lost money and you've lost diamonds, and you may potentially also lose your ability to trade in Royale High, because if you don't know, something that Royale High has been doing more so now is that instead of just like permanently banning people, they will take away your trading ability first and then potentially ban you if you keep going. So what's really interesting is that unfortunately a lot of kids who maybe don't understand or know better are purchasing stuff from platforms like Facebook Marketplace for diamonds that are exploited or stolen from other players, and then when they get caught doing that, they end up losing out on the money, get their diamonds taken away, and get put on this like almost sort of like watch list for being affiliated with sellers, which can then jeopardize your Royale High account even if you earned all your other items legitimately. So regardless, this was just meant to be a little PSA to explain like the background context behind why personally I would never purchase diamonds, and why you may notice that sometimes your diamonds are disappearing out of your account. The same thing can also apply if you're doing a trade with another player, to my understanding, and that player purchased diamonds from a seller and they're trading you those diamonds in a trade. Sometimes Royale High may even take action against the next person that received them, because they may think that maybe if you're getting a massive overtrade or something, that you were somehow complicit in that trade. So it is really important that even if you aren't directly purchasing from other sellers, that you're very careful who you're trading with. If people do not have a track record of trading, if they don't have a high level, if they don't have a ton of badges, if they don't have any sort of like, it seems like connections to Royale High, specifically the people who don't ever wear like a Royale High outfit, they always just have the default avatar on, even if they're like level 1000. Stuff like that are major red flags that you should not be trading with them. And no matter how good a trade offer may seem, do not get disillusioned and fall for these kinds of people who are trying to trade you exploited goods, because that can actually negatively impact your account and cause you to lose out in tons of value. So regardless, guys, I hope you guys found this video helpful, and we'll keep this in mind when you're trading Royale High. Always be very wary, do background checks before you're trading with people, especially if the deal is too good to be true. It probably is. And if you are a victim of this and you didn't buy anything from anybody and you feel like you've been wrongfully accused or got the items wrongfully taken away from you, you can contact Royale High support and see if they can work work with you from there. But regardless, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye bye.